Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my new video. In today's video we are going over the new preview of resonators, Lynae and Mornye. They dropped something new about them, and so we're checking it out. I'm very excited to see what their attribute and weapons are, so let's go and see what this is all about. She looks amazing. As we can see, she's a Spectro and gun user. That's very cool, honestly. This is actually huge. With her being Spectro, we already know that the Spectro characters we have in the game are Jinxie, which is a 1.0 DPS, Phoebe, which is a support slash main DPS in a Spectro Frazzle territory, and then Spectral Rover is like hybrid that can like support other units and stuff. Shorekeeper is also general support, nothing too crazy there. She's not like only tailored towards a Spectral. Same goes for Verina. Zani is the Spectral Frazzle main DPS. So because we have only Phoebe and Spectral Rover inflicting Spectral Frazzle, if Lynae is a Spectral Frazzle character, she might bring Spectral Frazzle to the next level, and honestly that'll be interesting. Jinxie is a Broadblade user, and we don't have a single character in the Spectral department that is actually pistol user. As you can see, there's Gauntlet, Rectifier, Sword, Rectifier again, Broadblade. We only miss a gun user, and that is going to be Lynae. For the damage type, what kind of kit can she have? I heard rumors that both Mornye and Lynae are support characters, but I will dive into it, what kind of support character they can potentially be. They might be amazing, or they might be more specific, but we'll see what they can potentially be. But for the damage type, Jinxie is a resonance skill damage dealer, right? Phoebe does basic attack damage slash heavy attack damage, but yeah, she does like, let's say she's more on a heavy attack, so resonance skill heavy attack for Spectral attribute, right? Rover is like resonance skill and then spamming heavy attack damage, so he's like more like hybrid between all the damage types. Shorekeeper, she's just a healer, she doesn't do any damage, same for Verina, and Zani is full on heavy attack. So we don't have like standalone basic attack damage dealer, and we don't have any liberation damage dealer for Spectral attribute. So this is actually one of the two of those damage types that we can actually give to Lynae, and it will bring something new to Spectral attribute. Right now, that's basically for Spectral, because, and honestly, the themes that she can make, if she buffs Spectral Frazzle, cool. If she's a new standalone unit for Spectral as a whole, if she's an actual support, she looks amazing by the way. If she's an actual support, then I hope she's a good Spectral support for all the Spectral units, like buffing general Spectral damage, increasing the attack percentage or something. But yeah, like overall we cannot know for sure. Like with Chisa, they teased all of these characters to potentially have something to do with the negative status, so I wouldn't be surprised if she has something to do with the Spectral Frazzle. But yeah, as for weapon, her being a pistol user, there's a that's actually a very good thing. And the reason why is very simple. As you can see, out of all 4-star pistols, Cadenza is the best. The reason why I say that is because if she turns out to be support, then if her liberation requires a decent amount of energy to be used to actually get it consistently every rotation, something like Cadenza, which is a 4-star, will be very good on Lynae of the release. And this one gives whopping 51% energy regen. Someone like Shorekeeper needs a 240% energy regen. Verina basically the same. So those characters, they use a rectifier called variation that does exact same thing, exact same skill and exact same energy regen as Cadenza, but it's for rectifier, right? We have the every weapon class with the one 4-star that's like this, right? Chrome made this on purpose so you can actually have a free-to-play option for those kind of characters. If she turns out to be full-on support, because last two Spectral supports, like full-on supports, are Verina back in 1.0 and Showkeeper back in 1.3. So they're both Spectral and they're general buffers. So if she's general buffer, she might be leaning more towards a must pull. And the reason why I say the pistol category is very, very good, because in Wuthering Waves, you have a standard weapon banner and standard character banner, right? At the beginning of the game, if you're a new player, you can actually, by getting Union level, the world level 45, you get a free box that gives you any weapon from standard weapon pool that you want, right? And so you can choose between Static Mace, the Emerald of Genesis, which is a sword, and Broadblade, Rectifier, and Gauntlet. Only Static Mace and Emerald of Genesis, like the sword and the gun, this gun, are the best choices in that standard weapon pool, right? All others are kind of mid, and the reason why is because they have attack percentage instead of crit. And critical rate / critical damage are very important in Wuthering Waves for your main DPS. Now, if Lynae, this is what I'm saying. I'm not gonna say leaks because everything we see from leaks is usually kind of questionable. It might not be as it is on release, so it's kind of important to take it with a grain of salt. But I heard that Lynae and Mornye might be like supports. And if they are support, then it doesn't really matter how much damage you increase. Static Mist might be good if she's like a sub DPS / support. If she's a hybrid, right, between a healer and doing some damage, like Chisa. Or maybe if she's like, I don't know, someone like Yuno, and Yuno also heals. She heals using her, so yeah, resonators inside domain periodically restore HP and stamina, gaining shield inside gives you 1 stack of blessing, blah blah blah. This one increases like damage amplification even further. So she heals, but her outro skill also amplifies incoming resonator about 50% amplification for 14 seconds. It ends if they are switched off the field. So what that means that she cannot be a general support for your team. She's actually a sub DPS role, the one unit you intro from which you outro into a next DPS character. And why is that important? It's because she's also a healer. Then other characters like Chacona can be used. Without using your Showkeeper or Verina, you're actually putting more damage while still having sustain and healing, but you're putting more double downing, triple downing on your damage. And that is very important. So 50% amplification for heavy attack damage. And from someone like Chuyan, which I forgot to showcase here, but Chuyan is another arrow character like Yuno is. He doesn't heal, but he also has 50% amplification outro skill, but for echo skill damage. So we have echo skill damage, heavy attack damage, amplification by 50%. Now, what can she potentially do? If she is similar to Yuno, right? If she heals and she uses a gun, which is honestly very budget friendly because anyone should have Static Mist, and even if not Static Mist, if you're a new player, Cadenza should be on your account and ready for Lynae. So Lynae, from the weapon perspective, might be very free-to-play friendly, budget friendly. And with new Sonata sets being 3 cost, like not 3 cost, but 3-piece Sonata sets, you can easily farm them and easily build the newest units. So honestly, I don't really think that Lynae will be like predatory. I think she'll be budget friendly. Now her kit is actually what will make everything make sense or not make sense. We'll see. But if she's something like Yuno, what can happen is that she might use her outro skill, might be a sub DPS role, right? She might amplify basic attack damage by 50%. She might amplify resin skill damage by 50% or liberation damage by 50%. But I'm leaning more towards And here's like true to the matter, right? Augusta, this is very important to actually know before we go any further. Augusta is electro character, right? She deals the electro damage, she's electro DPS, and she deals heavy attack damage. And when she was released, because in 2.0 we got a lot of like teams that are leaning more towards one attribute, like Mono Havoc, Mono Fusion, even Mono Arrow with the Katetia and Chakona and being like only non-cope units. And so there were actually a lot of mono teams, right? And then Spectrofraza, like full-on Spectro team. So a lot of mono-focused teams. And so when we got Augusta, the instant logic will be like her best in slot has to be another Electro unit, right? And so when we got Yuno, which is Augusta's best in slot, yeah, spoilers alert, best in slot, she amplifies heavy attack damage by 50% and further by her domain, right? Giving you these stacks that give you like 4%, you get 10 stacks, it's like 40% extra amplification to entire damage. So yeah, Augusta, even though she's Electro, her best in slot is an Arrow unit. And it actually works. So Lynae might be a similar character, right? She might be doing something like Yuno, but instead of being like full-on Spectrofrazzle or something like that, she might have a very powerful outro skill that amplifies, I don't know, maybe Liberation DPS, right? That will buff someone like Alcharo, that will buff someone like Zhang Liao. So those units will be buffed by this unit if she buffs, amplifies like Liberation, like Yuno does with heavy attack, or Chuyan does with echo skill damage, like that 50% amplification is very strong. If she does that, she'll be very useful of the release, but she can also amplify Rezen's skill, which will also be very amazing, but again, it will replace Jaja in Carlotta's team. And so, like, there are good use cases, but knowing Kuro games, they're here for variety, right? We will also need a basic attack amplification, so we can put Camellia on a next level, right? And all the other like basic attack damage dealers can easily benefit from her amplifying basic attacks by 50%. So that's very something that we need to like look forward to, because yeah, she's a pistol user, she's a Spectro. There are like couple things that we can already like maybe predict, but yeah, I don't know, maybe she's a Resin skill damage dealer, maybe she's a Liberation. I'm not really damage dealer, but maybe she deals those damage types, right? And so with that being said, yeah, Lynae looks very interesting. I hope she doesn't disappoint on the release, because we all know that Kuro Games has a track record of releasing units like Chisa. Chisa, even on Arrow Erosion, I think that's still amazing. I think she's kinda underwhelming because Kuro didn't like tune her like the right way to make those teams outstand outside of their original teams. Like being replacement for Arrow Rover without her signature, it's kinda doesn't really seems that good. So unfortunately, Chisa is kinda depending heavily on those next 5 characters that are coming into 3.x arc. So that's for Lynae. Let's go to Mornye. Let's see what she's all about. Bro, she's so Jinsi and Trolova. So from what we can see, she's a fusion, bro. And honestly, I don't know what. This is kinda, I won't say messed up, but I'm kinda worried. I'm kinda concerned, because I'm not concerned about her. She'll definitely be strong, right? I'm definitely pulling for this character, whatever she is. But another fusion kinda leaves like bad taste in my mouth. Like another fusion character. The only way I can see this character actually being good and coexisting without power creeping any other fusion character like Chang-Li or Brand, Lupa cannot be power creeped because she's like team-wide buffer. Like you need to completely destroy the balance of the game to like power creep Lupa's buffing capabilities. But Brand and Changli are like, at this point, they're like getting slightly old, right? So honestly, Changli looks like she might go first if this character turns up to be like hybrid damage-oriented support, right? If she's like dealing damage and she heals because Changli is not really doing that much damage on her own. I don't know, man. So yeah, from what we can see here, there are a couple characters that we need to actually take a look first. So her weapon, right? Her weapon is a Broadblade. And as a Broadblade user, this is what you can do. So the first 4-star and the only 4-star you should care about on Broadblades is Discord. This one is basically the same as Cadenza from before. This one gives you 51% energy regen and a high concerto, so faster rotation and better energy. So if she ends up being fusion support kind of character that heals and does something else, she will definitely use this Broadblade if she needs more energy. If she doesn't need more energy but wants a bit more damage, she can use something like Lustrous Razor, which is a standard 5-star Broadblade. As you can see, this one is not as good as Static Mist or Emerald of Genesis. It has only attack percentage, which will be nice if she's like hybrid, but unfortunately we already have hybrid characters. So we already have hybrid characters, and like Brand is fusion, shield, heal, and damage dealer. So he does all of that. However, he's very hard to build. Building Brand is a big resource hit, is a nuke on your resources. You can get lucky, but again, like he is very hyper specific on his requirements. Without a weapon, I would say he's not even worth building. With the weapon, you might have more luck and more like optimal way to actually build him. Without his weapon, he's a nightmare to build. Do not do that. Like if you don't have his weapon, do not even pull him. If you can pull his weapon, don't even pull him in the first place. Unfortunately, they tried to cook, but they cooked so much, they overcooked, and they actually made his kit hard to build. And even when fully built, he does damage, but he's not like a top tier DPS. And that is the main reason. Galbrena is the newest fusion DPS, and she works way better than Brand on any free-to-play like lineup than Brand does. And in mono fusion, the only reason why Brand is required is because he's a healer and shield, provides shield. So if Mornye provides healing at least, she can easily replace Brand, and we can now have Lupa, Mornye, and Galbrena, right? And now again, the same logic goes with like situation, right? She amplifies damage from characters that apply shield, right? Her outro skill also gives you 50% heavy attack damage amplification. Now Mornye, for the fusion department, we pretty much have all the damage types. Galbrena has both heavy attack and echo skill damage. So honestly, either of those deal a lot of damage when buffed. So she's basically both of those damage types at once. Then we have Resonance skill on Changli, Liberation on Lupa, and basic attack damage on Brand. So as you can see already, all the damage types are already covered within Fusion department. Now she might do something with the Fusion Burst, because Fusion Burst is the next negative status that we are expecting. But Fusion Burst is not really... It's that kind of concerns. If she's hyper specific on Fusion Burst only, that might be very, very not so player friendly, because as we can see, this Broadblade, unless you're using specific units, this Broadblade is not really gonna be that good. Without Liberation bonus, this gives energy, decent attack, but that's basically where it is. Your critical ratio will not be as good if you don't have right Sonata set. If you don't have one of the 3-piece Sonata sets for Augusta, she will not really benefit from this that much. if you don't have like I don't know, like if your character doesn't have a Sonata set that gives you crit, like Augusta, she has critical 20% critical damage on her 3-piece set, Crown of Valor, and so she using Lustrous Razor is not really a big deal, right? It's not really that big deal because she has some crit stats on her Sonata set to make up for the lack of stats here. But recently we got Chisa and her Sonata set doesn't have any crit. So her using Lustrous Razor makes her building even harder, where honestly for support you shouldn't even feel like that kind of pain on building them just because you equipped like the another alternative. But yeah, it is what it is. There's a lot of Broadblades. We have Resonance Skill for Broadblade. We have Liberation, Liberation again, Heavy Attack, Liberation. We don't have a basic attack damage dealer or damage oriented Broadblade user, so that's something we can also expect. But again, she better not be a healer that does decent amount of basic attack damage, because then Brand might be benched. And the reason why, it's because, let's all be honest for a second, she's a 3.0 unit, and as a 3.0 unit, she will bring something to the table that no other character, no other fusion character in a game has brought to the table before. Because this character is so hyped, they will not make this character flop, right? They will do something crazy with her. And that crazy, we are in 3.0, right? We've been praising Kuro for giving a balance to the game, making 1.0 units still be able to clear, right? In TOA, you might struggle, but a 1.0 unit can still clear. Calcharo still clears in a quick swap with Changli, they're both 1.0 units, and Jian with enough investment can still clear. Camellia, same thing. Even Carlota, who is like slightly falling off, she can still clear. And even with like some budget options. And so Mornye being 3.0 character, I think we need to stop being babies and finally get real, and because things are getting a little bit more serious. I think Kuro was generous enough and they gave us enough time for us to enjoy the game, build our accounts, build all that we need. And so now I think they're like starting to move forward from other units. It's either two things. She will outperform Changli, or she will outperform Brand, potentially, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be that, because we again have one hope left, and that is like Yuno type of kit, where she's like arrow unit, but she supports electro DPS. So that might be a very good thing. If she's a basic attack Broadblade user, now we have another type of Broadblade that can buff future basic attack Broadblade users. Or maybe not, who knows, maybe it's hyper specific. But yeah, from her, for when it comes to weapons, if she's not only a healer, which I doubt, because every single healer we got so far since 2.0 was like hybrid, right? It was like doing damage and healing and providing some crazy buffs. So I don't think she will just be dealing 0 damage like Shorekeeper and then giving some buffs. I think she'll be like Yuno, so doing a bit more damage will be required. So something like Discord might be like cope right now, because yeah, it is good for support. But again, if you have something like Lustrous or any other Broadblade, she will still work, right? All these Broadblades, if you have at least one of these Broadblades, it'll be amazing stat stick if you play her on TOA. If she's Whimpering Waste focused, I will like that, but yeah. Like for Fusion department, she needs to be Yuno. We need Fusion version of Yuno. That's only thing I can say that we can save the balance of the game, because so far we have everything covered. We have a healer support for the Fusion who also deals decent damage. I mean, the only way you can outperform this guy is by doing that plus more. And his building requirement is actually what people will make people actually bench him, drop him, and give up on ever getting him, because he's so hard to build. and he requires his weapon. I hope Mornye doesn't require her weapon, but again, this can mean multiple things. This is not really something we can already predict too much. But yeah, from the fusion department, Changli, I'm not saying she needs to go, but she looks like the biggest candidate to actually go to bench, because yeah, she's the oldest premium fusion unit, and so I expect that if they trying to power creep anyone, it'll be the oldest unit, which is Changli from the fusion. And so yeah, that's basically all I can say here. So yeah, besides all of that, yeah, that'll be basically my review on all of these characters. I think Mornye looks amazing. I'm kinda a bit scared and concerned about her being fusion, because as I said before, this is like dangerous territory, right? This is starting to seem, because we basically have everything covered, right? For the fusion, we have resin skill, basic attack, we have liberation, heavy attack, and echo skill damage. So we have a lot to do within fusion. We have every single damage type already here. We have every single role, main DPS, DPS slash support. Like, we have everything, sub DPS, main DPS, team-wide buffer. Everything is here for fusion. I don't know what role besides fusion burst she can offer. And if she does fusion burst, will she be restrictive on release, or will she be very like versatile friendly, but also her future best in slot support will actually elevate her even more? I hope that's how it is, because yeah, I really don't want Mornye to be, she's so hyped. She's so hyped. Everybody is looking forward to Mornye, and even Lynae. I hope Lynae looks like someone who has a lot of potential to actually bring something new to the table, because there's a lot of room that is not explored, where fusion, almost everything is explored. And so getting new units can only mean one thing, and it's power creep. So, and like replacement, complete replacement. Like Alberna can already replace Changli if you don't have Changli in a monofusion team. So Changli is already kind of getting benched, and this can actually put a final nail to the coffin if Mornye is resin skill, if she does resin skill damage, right? And so yeah, that's basically what I think about Mornye. I hope you enjoyed this kind of video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.